So with the impact to my business and income, will this delay my retirement?
I know you're worried, Marshall, but based on the original plan we came up with, you're only about 6 months behind.
I thought it would be years, not months.
You should feel good. Remember, you've got a plan.
Thanks.
With change comes questions. See the impact of your money decisions before you make them with RBC Wealth Plan.
Good morning, curling fans, and welcome to Swift Current, Alberta, Canada. This is the early morning Thursday draw of the Western Showdown, and you get the luxury of watching Whyte with Hammer playing against Lukas Klima of the Czech Republic. It's early in the event, so there's not a lot of tides being swung yet so far, but it's been good curling thus far, and we're hoping for a great match here. So this is Lukas Klima, lead for the Czech Republic, throwing yellow rocks to open us off this end. On the sweep to start it out, we got Martin Jurek and Marek Chernovsky. And then in the house, of course, is the one and only Lukas Klima. Starting off nice and simple. Throw it in the house, clean first end. Ross is inclined to play along, so he's just going to take it out and roll around. It's not uncommon for the first end to be simple. Hits and draws, stretch legs, save some time. So this is Ewan Kyle throwing lead for Ross today. He's got Duncan McFadden and Robin Bryden sweeping along. Good learning opportunity. Hit and roll to the left. Now let's roll to the right. It's all good. It's still in the house. A little bit of a fishtail there, but doesn't matter. Wide open hit. Don't have a big piece of the rock, but it's going to go away all the same. Doesn't quite get the little biter. Ross is electing to go, okay, I can use that. Throw up a corner guard, see if we can't get an early two. It's not going to create an exorbitant amount of pressure, but it's still an opportunity here early on. Both teams, of course, had a pre-game practice, so they should have a pretty decent grasp for draw weight. Subtle little fact for the newer curler, when you're throwing inside out, it will tend to run about a quarter second heavier than outside in, because that does actually play as a new path compared to all the practice ice where they hone in, draw to the button kind of skills. So there you go. Beautiful corner guard, nothing to it. Lukas Klima had the option of bring it into the house and keep it clean or throw a guard. I'm okay with this. If you go in the house, then they have the opportunity to roll under the corner guard they just created. So might as well push the agenda a little bit. Martin Jurek with the ever so tight into the house guard. Just far enough that a hit and roll may bite the house. Give her a whirl. You made a guard, go ahead and use it. So we're up to Duncan McFadden. I'm sure they enunciate it that way. Duncan McFadden playing second. This one's also not coming up quite as fast. Should stick around. There you go. It's going to bite. Oh. 2 in a row. Fooled on that in-turn takeout. Klima saying you had your chance. Peel the guard. Martin jerks, number 2. Nice clean peel. Goodbye, Rock. Ross still playing the try to generate 2 without a ton of risk. Is going to just try to freeze into this yellow one. A little bit of a backer that could possibly make the takeout harder and generate a simple little 2. Duncan also being asked to remember that inside out's just a little bit heavier. Ewan trying to walk it over. The line's not quite there. Nice draw. Had the path, a little light, didn't quite come up. So Merrick's going to just hit and roll away a little bit. If you stay biting the house, that's great. Just don't jam it on the back. Sweeper saying, hey, we're throwing it a little heavy. Hold the line. Ooh, hold the line. Yeah. All right. Actually got a really good outcome. Got rid of the backing for the freeze and took it out and stayed in the house. 3 check marks. Great shot. Robin Bryden here. His turn to hit and stick around in the house somewhere. Going to end up with basically nose. Doesn't change the path much for Klima, but rock of the house. This is Marek Chernovsky's second shot at the end. Babysat by Martin and Lukas. Trying to milk a little bit of motion out of it. There you go. Bang, nose hit. We're working our way up towards the front of the house, but I don't think it's going to come too much into play. Just keep trading shots for a quick first end. Robin looking to answer. Couple of cute free 4 out of 4s to start the end. Always nice to be 100% after your first 2. So while Lukas is making his way down, I'll welcome everybody and thank you for joining us. This is, of course, the Stadium Sports Network on the Curling Zone platform, broadcast on YouTube. We hope you enjoy what you see. We encourage you to subscribe, click, like, dislike, argue, chat away, whatever makes you happy this morning. We're just happy to have some friends. All right, Klima's turn for a cute little 4 out of 4. Start his day off at 100%. Blunk. There you go. So Ross is probably going to want to know. Well, you go two ways with this. If he noses it and then nose back, then the blank is extra easy because you won't even be in the house with the hit. So end of the day, get rid of the rock. You could theoretically try to cross the house with the roll to find some new path that might do something that they don't expect, yada yada. But this is good. So now Klima knows it, possibly be biting. They're looking to roll far enough over that Ross at least has to try to roll out. Nose hit would make life really easy for Ross. Well, we're crossing over the nose a little bit. Bang! A little roll to force the agenda. Well done. All right. This, of course, is hit and roll out. Blank the first. Clean and simple. If anyone's interested, there are a few other games being broadcast this morning. We, of course, encourage people to watch all the draws and streams. There you go. Nice little bang and fly out the side. Two teams with a lot of 4 out of 4s and a clean first end. We'll be back in a couple.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec Safety online e-learning website again?
Yeah, that would be aztecsafety.com.
Fire extinguisher and firefighting, we'll send that one to Paul.
Ah, now here's a course I should probably take. Conflict resolution.
Power line safety. Yeah, I thought it might help me with my line calls. Did you know this Aztec website has over 100 safety courses?
Jeez. Aztec Safety online course. Ground disturbance. Could have used that a few seconds ago.
The 2025-2026 Grand Slam of Curling schedule is out, with big events happening all over Canada, like the Masters heading to London in September, the Tour Challenge from Nisku this October, the Canadian Open from Saskatchewan in December, and the Players' Championship from Steinbach coming in January. Early bird weekend and full event passes on sale now at gsoctickets.com. Let's rock!
Welcome back, everybody. We're coming into end number 2 here at the Western Showdown out of Swift Current, Saskatchewan, Canada. This is Team Klima from the Czech Republic against Ross Whyte from Scotland. We had a simple, clean first end. Got through it quick and easy. Started off with something gone amok on the first one. You can see the yellow in the back corner. Maybe it was a hog rock, maybe it was a sweeping error, we don't know, but the rock's in the corner. So Ross got a free corner guard out of it. Klima is now looking to put this one in the middle. Working our way to a little bit more of a standard scoreable end. There you go. Pair of draws. Sorry, guards. Ross is going to jump right away into the guard land. We're early enough on that there's no reason for double guards. Again, just trying to find a way to score a 2. Robin Getting Bryden with the broom down. Watching the line. Little bit strong. Squeaky. Yeah. All right. Got a bit of the house. A little bit deep, but that still leaves lots of scoring room. So even if they freeze, there's lots to work with. Klima electing to do basically a little bump. Push it out. Keep your shooter in play. Kind of a hack weight by the looks of it. Martin Jurek with his first one to the end. Again, a bit of a signal of a little toasty. Working it up. There you go. Did it. All right. Well, you got half the objectives. Got the red one out. Didn't keep your shooter. That, of course, means Ross can pick whatever he wants. Peel a guard. Try the draw again. Pick your slices. So he's going for same draw. Ideally above the tee line this time. All right. Duncan McFadden's attempt the same draw behind the corner guard. Working this one. A little bit light. Double corner. It's going to be a little harder to get a rock in behind those now. That port's not that large. And now Klima's got free choice to do as he pleases. So his turn to try to use his own guard. Looking for something bite top 4, fully buried, somewhere in that ballpark. So we've been kind of trading half shots a little bit. Not a lot of attention in the sweepers. This is probably going to be sliding a little bit deep in the house. Oh, it's trying to stop. All right, nice shot. Maybe half a rock deeper than they wanted, but it'll certainly serve the purpose. Ross saying enough of this center guard. Get rid of it one way or the other. It's close on the run back. 1, 2 yellows in the corner. Very nice run back double. Unfortunately, there is still a center guard, but at least it's now a red one. So Ross got the double and changed the rock color, but they do have full opportunity to put another one in behind it. The draw is always easier than the run back, so despite the rock changing colors, generally you're happy being a drawer here. Up to thirds rocks here. So this is Marek Chernovsky. Sweepers seem pretty good, pretty happy. There's that half a rock higher than the last one, so that's more ideal. You can't just come down with a cute little tap. Not that Ross is going to. I watched Ross a long time, and he's never been afraid to call a run back. So here we go. Same run back, different color. See if they can't stick it. Actually, probably like, what is that, about 4-foot roll over behind those staggered corners. That would be the ideal. We're getting close. Straight back. Half the roll. Very nice. Very nice. Yellow one's in the corner. They're not allowed to just do a gimme draw. They actually have to play a hit through a port. So Klima looking to hit and roll back under that center guard. You could technically roll either way. Under the corner guards would be a good spot for forcing Whyte to score, but obviously you'd rather be under the center guard. It's really close. What a nice shot. What a nice shot. Ross does have, let's call it a small half of the rock. So he can get in there and roll under those two corner guards. So that's a situation, if you had been Klima, where you actually would have preferred to have rolled and shown the other half of the rock out the other side of the guard. So even if Ross chases you, his shooter's rolling away from those other guards. Not saying that the hit and roll wasn't well done, just saying you would have preferred it to be fully buried or sticking out the other side. So Robin being asked for a nice soft weight hit and roll under the corner guards. Pass the guard with a bit of air. There's the hit. Will it stick? Will it stick? All right, rocking the paint. Yellow one gone, rocking the paint, rolled a little far. It does improve their situation, because even if the Czech team hits and sticks this, you're way out in the 12. Any kind of a roll is going to go deep 8, probably bite 12. So then you would have lots of choices on your way back. You could draw around that center guard, you could hit back, lots of choices by not being in the 4-foot. That said, Czech can't really ignore this one. It's way too early in the game to throw a draw around that center again, especially considering Team Whyte's prowess for runbacks. So hit the red one, make them earn more points on their own. Lukas Klima with his first to the end. Look for just a short little roll. Bang. And a little farther than they planned. Ross will probably chase that one. Robin's correct. You could ignore it and go for the draw. It does arguably play as a catcher if you were to throw and only bury part of a rock. The port through those reds isn't ideal for a draw. So drawing under the two corners is not really an option on the table right now. Still chatting as he slides backwards down the sheet. Looks like they've elected with hit and roll. They talked about rolling under the double corner. There is a lot of distance between them, so it's certainly there. Objective 1, make yellow go away. All right, Ross with his first, looking for a nice board to control weight hit and roll on this deep yellow. It's not quite curling as far as I hoped, so. Ooh, there it goes. Nice patience. There's that little tiny flop under the corners. That's going to be hard to chase. They can get rid of it. That really curled. That'd make a draw kind of a scary shot to throw here. So this looks like they're entertaining probably a heavy draw. That ice says to me you're probably throwing hack, enough to push the red out. Ross just threw, let's call it board, probably a little bit of a strong board, and it really bent at the end. So it will come around that guard and get to this rock. Objective 1, make red disappear. Objective 2, stay somewhere, preferably under the guards. All right, this is Team Czech's last to the end. Bit of an early sweep. Certainly moving its way across. That guard's coming into play. They almost pushed the red in, but they got away with that one. There's a yellow there to deal with, but it's wide open. And it's second shot, so Ross can pick hit and stick or draw, whichever tickles his fancy, and draw is his choice. Considering you just threw 2 full sets of practice rocks, good choice. So early mistake by the Czech team leads to a open draw for 2. Just got to be a big chunk of the 8. All right, here's the Scots in their last. Ross's job is done. Rock is on the way. Easy little clean. Ewan and Duncan seem to think, hey, this is pretty good. And there you have it. Nice draw to the button for 2. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the RockShop.net, the official store for the Grand Slam of curling. Whether you're looking for the best hats, stylish clothing, fun toys, or unique accessories, the Rock Shop has it all. Shop online anytime at the RockShop.net for exclusive Grand Slam of curling gear, or come see us in person at your next event. The RockShop.net, where fans find their favorite curling gear.
Developed over a decade in collaboration with the finest ice makers this side of the Atlantic, the Pebblehead PB5 is nothing short of a triumph of sophistication and craftsmanship. Weighing less than half its lumbering copper predecessors, yet boasting tenfold their durability, the PB5 delivers perfect, consistent ice, time after time. The PB5 by Pebbleheads.com, the apex of ice-making ingenuity for the roaring game of.
Welcome back, curling fans. This is the Thursday morning draw of the Western Showdown, brought to you by RBC Wealth Management. My name's Gord, coming to you with Matt on the cameras here on the Sports Stadium Network. Happy to be with you. Hope you're enjoying it. We have 2 ends under the belt. First end was a blank. Second end was a patient but well-earned 2 for Team Whyte. So Klima from the Czech now has hammer, throwing yellow rocks. They, the 2 teams have decided to throw really long guards to start the end. Ross is looking to throw a bit of a tighter one now, go for the double center. This one's really floating. This has got a chunk of the yellow at the moment. Woo! There it goes. Well, you can call it a guard. Wouldn't call it so much a center guard. Does set things up a bit interesting, but they got opportunities. 2 not quite center guards, high and low. Check with a long corner guard, looking to come under that one now. Safe miss would be a tighter version of a corner guard. That's that same path in the first end where we saw a couple of hits not curl up as expected. So maybe there's a bit of a little less curl on that left side going away from the glass, go towards the away end. Keep an eye on that. So there you go, safe miss, tighter corner guard. Ross thinking, do I call this a guard or do I call this a tappable rock? He says, okay, we'll use these as guards. Draw around it. Not your typical starting setup, but hey, it's still rocks to hide behind, so let's put one in the top of the house and see what we can make happen. Duncan with his first rock here in the third end. Waiting for it to pick up the curl, but it's finally decided to walk across. A little higher than they may have wanted, but it's still creating that double center guard-like feel. Does set up a double, so check looking to get rid of those 2 close yellow or reds. Try to leave at least a good chunk of your yellow invisible. Bummer to roll up totally as a double center. Keep going, keep going. All right, there you go. Got at least half of that yellow to work with, so it's not a great guard to hide behind. You almost want to over curl this. You want to be, let's say, even sticking an inch out past the yellow. The reason being that then the yellow run back isn't really there because you have to cross the nose and that other red guard's in the way. Calling it a little warm. And this is possibly the side of the sheet that's not so inclined to curl. It is walking across, but it does look a little deep. Or possibly a lot deep. Most likely in the corner deep. Ooh, missed opportunity. Bit of a slap your own wrist there. All right. Czech has the chance to take control of this spot. It is technically their guard, so throw this one above the tee line under that yellow guard. A camera pause there, but this one's coming in a lot nicer than the last. I'd probably call that a little deep. It's probably just under the red guard, so that guard's so long they certainly can get to it. Probably something in the hacked light board range. Hard to tell how buried it is at the moment. Certainly need to at least push it deep into the house. Slowly coming across. All right. Well, they push it far enough to get shot. That's the goal. Few options here. You could pick it out. Losing the back yellow one wouldn't be ideal, but not the end of the world. That's the next option I was going to say, is you can actually just rattle them around. Picture kind of like mixed doubles. Less of a plan to move or remove the rocks, but more just to get better positions and angles. So you're looking to get about a quarter of the red one with backline weight and just kind of bounce it off the other yellow. Long way to go. It's coming up. We're getting closer. Ba-dunk. All right. A little thinner than they were after. Set up a double for red. As you saw there with Ross, that angle would leave you the opportunity to actually spin up off the yellow back under the guards. So you kind of want to hit and spin up and a little bit to the left as the overhead is seen. All right, let's see what Robin has here. Clearly straight. They're going with the intern here. Holding the line. 1, 2. Ooh, doesn't quite get the spin up, but hey, that's 2 yellows in the corner. Excellent shot. Now, unfortunately, without the spin up, there is room for Klima to get across the nose and roll under the guards a little farther. He would be shot. You don't want to get underneath that other yellow, so you're just going to want to scooch up right to the edge of it if you can. It's getting close. Zip a roll. There you go. 2 or 3 inches more would have been beautiful, but that's a really nice shot. Ross can certainly come down to it. I don't think he can really move it. This spot doesn't quite have enough bite in the curl to move it back, but you can corner freeze it and still be shot. Ross talking weights with his team. Is this the same as the draw? Is it a little bit more? Is it a little bit less? It's running straighter here. Should we throw a little bit less? That's kind of how this conversation goes. Clearly a bit apprehensive in what weight he's needing to throw to make this freeze. In-depth conversation complete. Sweepers saying a little heavy. They're holding it by the guard. Line's got some work to do. I'm not sure why they're sweeping that way. Oh, yeah. Kiss of death. The little kiss. Those are horrible. Yellow's pushed deeper under the guard. And now the red one is just a sitting duck. So close. Just really couldn't be heavy there. Even if he'd been light, been 2 feet short and just cut off that draw path, left himself something to tap on his next one. You know, decent things came from light. Heavy was a disaster. So now Klima can decide which way he wants to go with this. He can roll over on top of his own. He could technically roll the other way, though you would set up a potential double and not have a lot of room to roll. Well, this spot's been a bit tricky with the hits, so we'll see. Ideal state, roll over on top of that yellow one. Nice quiet hit Whyte. We've seen Whyte does weird things out here. Trying to work it over. Needs to be fairly thin. Not too thin. Ay. Ay, too thin. They're trading gimmies in this one. That weight kind of surprised me, I'll be honest. That was barely back 12 weight, and considering you wanted to move that red one at least the back 8, not sure why you didn't just want to remove it altogether. That surprises me. A little mental error. I'm not sure Ross can do much about trying to sit 2. It's possible that you could push it far enough to sit 2 reds, but you run the risk of it not curling far enough and doing kind of what he did on the last one. And you definitely don't want to set up a red double here, because I believe yellow is sitting 1 and 3. Yeah, well, it's hard to say. Looking for that same freeze, basically. You could tap it a little bit. Whatever you do, don't roll off again. They got that same early sweep, which kind of haunted them on the last one. Both sweepers on it now. Whyte must be better. Oops. Also not so good. They did those backwards. The first one, you could afford to do that. Second one, you could afford, not quite as hard of a tap, but you could afford to be a little bit heavy. They did them exactly backwards. A little heavy on the first and a little light on the second. Anyways, suffice to say, Klima's got an opportunity to tie the game. Ross looks a little weight-stricken there. Keep an eye on his draws as the game progresses. All right, nice, simple nose hit over here on the far right red. Only caution being that it doesn't curl particularly hard in this path, but we'll say they learned. Nice soft weight. Holding it. Holding it. Bang. There's a pair of yellows on the board. Tie game. We'll be back in a couple.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec Safety online e-learning website again?
Yeah, that would be aztecsafety.com.
Fire extinguisher and firefighting, we'll send that one to Paul.
Ah, now here's a course I should probably take. Conflict resolution.
Power line safety. Yeah, I thought it might help me with my line calls. Did you know this Aztec website has over 100 safety courses?
Jeez. Aztec Safety online course. Ground disturbance. Could have used that a few seconds ago.
So with the impact to my business and income, will this delay my retirement?
I know you're worried, Marshall, but based on the original plan we came up with, you're only about 6 months behind.
I thought it would be years, not months.
You should feel good. Remember, you've got a plan.
Thanks.
With change comes questions. See the impact of your money decisions before you make them with RBC Wealth Plan.
Sorry, folks. I just realized my mic wasn't working. Anyways, going for... Oh! They were trying to hit as much of the red as they could to catch the yellow for the 2. Doesn't quite come up with it. That's a steal of 1 for Klima. 3-2 advantage after 4. We'll take a short break.
So with the impact to my business and income, will this delay my retirement?
I know you're worried, Marshall, but based on the original plan we came up with, you're only about 6 months behind.
I thought it would be years, not months.
You should feel good. Remember, you've got a plan.
Thanks.
With change comes questions. See the impact of your money decisions before you make them with RBC Wealth Plan. Welcome to the RockShop.net, the official store for the Grand Slam of curling. Whether you're looking for the best hats, stylish clothing, fun toys, or unique accessories, the Rock Shop has it all. Shop online anytime at the RockShop.net for exclusive Grand Slam of curling gear, or come see us in person at your next event. The RockShop.net, where fans find their favorite curling gear.
I have an idea.
Welcome back, everybody. We're going into end number 5 here. Thursday morning in Swift Current, Saskatchewan. RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown. Apologies for letting you sit in the quiet for the most of the 4th end. A little bit of a technical malfunction on our side, but we're back and we're keeping you company again. 4th end was a bit of an interesting one. Some opportunities appearing for both teams and then not quite getting fulfilled on. But that's why it's called a sport, and that's why it's curling. 3-2 after 5. Klima stealing the lead and shifting the even ends back into his favor. Kudos to him. Quick look at scores and other sheets while this end builds up. We've got Kleider with a 4-0 lead over Mosser. And we've got a 3-3 tie between Lott and Waddell over on, I'm not sure what sheet they're on. Not the sheet we're on. But anyways, it's a 3-3 tie after 4 ends over there. Feel free to keep up with all of the scores and even other streams here on the Stadium Network, part of Curling Zone, posted scores, streaming to you, and all those fun things. Follow, like, love us, whatever makes you happy. All right, so Ross has to work a little bit harder now to tip the scales back into his favor. Klima has the lead and will have Hammer in 6 and 8 versus his 5 and 7. So we had the center guard, the corner guard, the come around, and now the resurging corner freeze. This shot kind of vanished for a little while in the early 2000s, but is now making its return. Unfortunately, had that little tiny chap off kiss of death, meaning yellow can actually get just across nose and roll in on top of their own. The curse of the slightly heavy freeze. All right. Slightly heavy freeze rebutted with Nick the guard. Ross recognizes that that red one's not helping him. So you could split the red. You could actually make a play on the yellow. You could come through that goofy backwards port and just kind of chip it. I agree. Not what I would do. I kind of like this. Push your red one a little bit deep into the, call it leftern quadrant of the house as we're looking at the overhead, and kind of roll frozen, but on the other side of it. Cute little heavy draw. It's looking pretty close. Just got to cross the nose. Not a lot of weight on this. Plunk. Very nice. Excellent shot. You might say to yourself, well, that's an obviously easy hit and roll back that they left them. Yes. But that red one was not good where it was. So you've kind of made it a sacrificial rock in favor of that frozen pair out front. Kind of playing the longer game, if you will. And these hit and rolls have been tough to execute today. So we have a few different ways we can play at this hit. You can see enough of the yellow for a double that way. You can hit the red one and double that way. You could just hit the open one and roll. They are electing for one of the doubles. I think they're going yellow, yellow. There we are. Yellow, yellow. 2 in the corner. Nice shot, Duncan. So as you can see here, there's not a lot of that yellow one to see, but, hit either of them and that other yellow is going to vanish. This is all weight, and they don't overthrow them. Wonderfully don't overthrow them. Normal weight, a little help from your sweeper. Catch an inch, catch a chunk, double takeout, sit in 2. Beautiful shot. Klima obviously has to deal with one of these reds. There's a lot of junk on the left side, so a little roll underneath of everything is a good one. Those rocks are all really close together as well, so you never know when a double might appear. Doesn't get the roll, but nose hits fine. Shot rock. That's what I'm getting at. It's a rock that Ross doesn't want to leave there, but it's also hard to hit it without leaving an obvious double. So he's committed to hit yellow. He just can't decide which way he wants to roll. All right, he's thinking roll the shooter away. That's fine. His other call was also fine, almost like a half double. Push your other red farther off to the right side. But hey, hit and roll away sounds a lot easier. Robin's first coming down. Duncan on the on-off sweep. Definitely going to hit the yellow. Ooh. Well, that was a bit odd. That wasn't much sweeping for trying to roll away, but hey, yellow one gone. So here's that double that appeared for them that we were talking about. Upside for Ross is that no matter what happens, the yellow rock is not going to be in a scary position. You'll be able to hit it back, hit and roll, draw around, lots of potential choices. Little speed wobble there by Merrick. Bang! Oh, the split crotch squeak through, dribble back. Wasn't quite how they scripted it, but that was a real fun one. Hit both of them exactly the same time and then dance your way to the back of the house. But Ross still can see it, so now we're looking to hit and roll anywhere in the other than the middle of that port. Through the port, hit the rock, roll it over. Very nice shot by Robin. Lucas has enough that you can play at it. They've done this shot a handful of times this game. Scooting around a rock and just gonna scoot around that front red one. Catch as much as you can. Keeps the force in play. Got a long way to go. Got a long way to go. Well, if you're hunting for positives, you made the port bigger. The red one's more open. Your rock is in the house. But didn't really do a whole lot of good for you. Ross debating where to roll. Obviously, you can't roll towards the center. You'd hit the red in the back. You can roll to the left, as we're looking at them. Does potentially create a freeze pocket. Not sure Klima would be inclined to take on a freeze in the fifth end. But technically, it would be a pocket. That all said, you got to move the yellow one. All right, hit and roll out into the 12-foot under the long red guard. Working its way up. Ewan keeping a close eye. Nice roll. Nice roll. Hard to make the double because you've got at least a portion buried. Well, that's hard to say. Sitting here, it seems like enough of it got buried, but quite likely you got a half rock double. Clean it up. Good chance you roll out and Ross gets a free blank. You could just nose hit and try to force the agenda. I would say they're probably just throwing the double and keeping the score in a nice managed state. Keep your lead or be tied with hammer. Both are good outcomes. Ross would have, of course, liked to roll just a little bit farther to take the double out of the play. But we've seen lots of little misses. Oh, they're on the broom early. Sweeping it really early. It's close. Woo! Took some work, but there's the double. And what a roll. What a roll. Piece of paper on the guard, but you end up with a double and nearly perfect roll. Ross has a piece. So they come out. I got to say, I was a bit nervous when the sweeper was on before he barely even let go. But he worked it hard. Look at that. Just past the guard. Catches a chunk, makes the double, and what a brilliant roll. 2 in the corner and possibly forcing 1. Ross clearly thinks he can see enough of this. This is going to be up-weight pick shot blank, which is fine. You can tell the overhead. You clearly have at least a quarter. And he's on the right side of it, being a right-handed curler. This would be harder for a lefty. Here we go. Pick blank on the way. Ewan on it early. Got to get by the guard. They're by the guard with some air. They got enough? They got enough? Ooh. Not silent, but not hard enough. That's a steal of 1 again for Klima. Here in the 5th. 4-2 lead. We'll be right back.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec Safety online e-learning website again?
Yeah, that would be aztecsafety.com.
Fire extinguisher and firefighting, we'll send that one to Paul.
Ah, now here's a course I should probably take. Conflict resolution.
Power line safety. Yeah, I thought it might help me with my line calls. Did you know this Aztec website has over 100 safety courses?
Jeez. Aztec Safety online course. Ground disturbance. Could have used that a few seconds ago.
The 2025-2026 Grand Slam of Curling schedule is out, with big events happening all over Canada, like the Masters heading to London in September, the Tour Challenge from Nisku this October, the Canadian Open from Saskatchewan in December, and the Players' Championship from Steinbach coming in January. Early bird weekend and full event passes on sale now at gsoctickets.com. Let's rock!
Welcome back, curling fans. This is a rather fun game that we're part of so far. We've seen a little bit of everything. We've seen some mistakes. We've seen some great shots. We've seen some opportunity shots. Last end, great double. Opportunistic roll leads to a steal of 1 by Klima. But it's still anybody's game. 2-point lead is not that much, and, you know, a 3 might just spring out of the woodworks the way this game's playing out. We're here in the 6th end. We've got Yellow Rocks being Team Klima from the Czech Republic. Red Rocks, Ross Whyte out of Scotland. Yellow's thinking they're in a decent spot, so they threw 2 in the house. That's kind of the comfortable defense situation. Ross recognizing we're in an even end with hammer. We really need to get a 2 here. Take 2, force 1, take 2. That's how you win this game. So he's going with the double corner guard. So we're into the slightly higher aggression, risk-taking score building, which is fine. It's totally expected. This corner's not quite getting out there, not quite hitting the brakes. It's got a nibble of the house, which means it can go away. Small but costly mistake there. Now, obviously, had that been a guard, they wouldn't have been able to hit it yet with the 5 rock rule, but it bit the house, so early opportunity to hit. There's a fun little trifecta in the front. Ross probably looking to take that corner guard into play. You could smash things and roll under the guard. You could draw under the guard. This is an awful lot of yellow building up. Not super scary, but all the same. Looking for a nice double. Bang, bang, 2 in the corner. Going to lose another red in that exchange. Your corner guard's going to go for a vacation. You could get a scoochie coochie little double here. I don't disagree. Go back corner. Ooh, over the top of the other one. But objective, no guard, well accomplished. Ross will go put it back up now. It's going to be really hard to score 2 without something to play around. All right, Duncan's corner guard on the way. Subtle little mentionable for the advanced curler here. They picked this side on purpose because it's a little bit harder to catch that other yellow on the way by. Or sorry, other red on the way by. You saw on the previous one, they thought hit thin and clip it on the way by. It's just harder when they're stacked this way. So you can see here, Klima says, let's peel this one. The red on the top of the house, we'll just worry about it later. Subtle but an important little feature. All right. Looking to make this corner guard go visit its other friend in the corner. Bang, gone. And shooter doesn't stick around. Ross is walking through sequence of events. He could throw another corner. They'll peel another corner. At some point, he could deal with the yellow one. Hard to defend a cross house double for that many rocks. You can draw underneath of those as if they are guards. And then maybe they have to use that yellow in a raise or something and take it out on their own accord. All options considered, one more corner guard. That same spot would be absolutely brilliant. Don't want to get too much higher or lower. Then that double comes back into play. There you go, right on the R of insurance. So here's what Ross was wondering. At what point does Klima decide to stop chasing guards and get rid of the one biting the house? The upside is you might get to use your corner guard. All right, make the red biter go away. A tiny little roll away from the center line would really chop off the chance to draw under that corner guard. Well, now's that chance to use your corner. You'll even be shot, obviously. Draw into the corner. They either chase or peel the corner. Working it across. Get it to finish. That hard sweep to get the curl. Great shot by Robin there. Fully buried under the corner guard. Klima entertaining the run back. The risk, of course, is if you go straight back with it, then you actually leave a red in the house and a yellow corner guard that you could put another one behind. That would be kind of an extreme miss. Dead nose straight back. Anything other than that is acceptable. Even if you just peel off the guard, Ross will either have to draw somewhere else, giving you the open hit, or put the guard back up. Little in out on the release there. Trying to get it back. Looking close. Nicely done. 2 in the corner. Perfect run back. Does leave a corner guard. So there is still a chance at a 2. Throw it back under. Maybe even a little bit deeper. You don't actually need to be above the tee line here. You need to be fully buried. Distance is your friend. Got to be shot. Ross looking to replicate Robin's draw. It's coming across. Ewan looking to get it going. Got to get a little bit more out of it. Under the guard. It's got the distance, fully buried. Yellow could freeze to it, but that was kind of what you were after. You were looking for an opportunity at a deuce, and that's what you accomplished. Given the somewhat erratic nature of his last few draws, I might not be inclined to throw the tap. He's got a bit of a challenge getting his draws to get where they want to. He's getting more bend. He's a little bit of a lighter release than, say, Ross, who has that very distinct in-out pop. So Klima is actually looking to get more action out of this. He's taking a little more ice than Ross. Some of you may have noticed that Ross tends to throw a whisker wide of his broom. It's probably very intentional, probably practiced that way. Klima's added a few inches of ice, has a slightly quieter release, and really looking for this one to walk across and be nose frozen. That would definitely take away this chance at a 2. Here we go. Last yellow of the end. Looking for a cute little nose freeze. Looking a little warm. It's got a long way to go. Don't have a lot of that red one. That was kind of where I was at. His draws just haven't been quite completing right. That was tough. In the end, he doesn't push the red far enough, nor does he end up frozen, leaving Ross with a fairly gimme nose hit for 2. All right, Ross ready. Sweepers ready. Fire. Here we go. Nice simple weight. Hit it with enough to get what you want. Sweepers to manage the line. And a textbook nose hit for 2. We've got a tie game, folks. We'll be back in a couple.
Welcome to the RockShop.net, the official store for the Grand Slam of curling. Whether you're looking for the best hats, stylish clothing, fun toys, or unique accessories, the Rock Shop has it all. Shop online anytime at therockshop.net for exclusive Grand Slam of curling gear, or come see us in person at your next event. Therockshop.net, where fans find their favorite curling gear.
Developed over a decade in collaboration with the finest ice makers this side of the Atlantic, the Pebblehead PB5 is nothing short of a triumph of sophistication and craftsmanship. Weighing less than half its lumbering copper predecessors, yet boasting tenfold their durability, the PB5 delivers perfect, consistent ice, time after time. The PB5 by Pebbleheads.com, the apex of ice-making ingenuity for the roaring game of...
Welcome back, curling fans. End number 7 action here early on a Thursday morning in Swift Current, Saskatchewan at the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown. We're early in the event, and I have course, encourage you to watch many, many draws because these teams know what they're doing, and it's been fun curling. 7 ends under the belt, 4-4 tie. Handful of mistakes, handful of great shots. All in all, a lot of fun. 2 ends left. Klima with a hammer here. So Ross did what he needed to in the last end, get his 2. Now he's going to try to force 1. Steal would be okay, not ideal. Force 1's his goal. Klima, on the other hand, is thinking, you know what? 2-0, those are my choices. Well, I suppose 3, but realistically, take 2 or blank end is really what Klima's after. So Ross threw up the center guard, and Klima went around it. That's a very common tactic for when you're just trying to do 2 or 0. Ross then tried to come around, and shockingly, they didn't even get it out. They did need to get up to the nose, but a bit of a interesting miss on that one. That brings the 2 into play early for the Yellowstones. Lots of rocks to go, obviously. This one's going to be try to hit and roll away. There's your hit. And there's your roll. Another, just enough weight for the shot. Ross immediately recognizing he's in a bit of a bind with 2 yellows already in the house. He's electing to throw up another guard to create some pressure and possibly steal potential. He could do take 1, force 1, go in an extra. That back house biter, as simple as it may seem, is a bit of a strategy shifter. Squeaking around the guard, walking it down. There's your double center. Never a bad thing to have. Klima will clean up what he perceives as the guard mess. Here comes the fireball. Ooh. All right. 1 guard gone. Ross's choices. Put it back and continue with the steal aggression. No great double with that set. It is possible, but your shooter clearly rolls away or out. Then they wrap the center. Could hit and roll the front yellow, which is a little bit more typical than the back yellow. If you can keep shot rock with hitting the back one, then there's merit in this because then he has to chase you. Well, you can't be shot, but no, maybe you can be fully buried. There's a lot of room in between them, but maybe you can trade rocks a little bit. So if you hit and roll buried, he comes around maybe with a cute little tap, then you come around with a cute little tap, and suddenly you're actually going to be shot rock and playing under the center. That's kind of the 4 rock game plan. All right. Well, the yellow one left. Half the story. And goodbye, guard. So this leads to that whole initial statement of Klima wants 2 or 0. This guard goes away. You're really set up well for that. If Ross goes after the one in the house, that spells 0. If Ross throws up a guard, that's still 2 or 0. So this is playing out well in Klima's playbook. Boom, gone. So Ross has a decision. Support the 0 and try to steal in the next end. All right, here we go. Throwing up a center guard. That's what I would do. Still got 4 rocks. Anything can happen. Walking it down. Nothing too crazy. Halfway center guard. Klima keeping it simple. Here comes some more heat. Hey. And that's why you do it with some heat. Both rocks left, even though you only caught an inch. Well done. Ross is sticking to this plan. Throw another center guard. Kind of looking like he's picturing hit and roll to the middle in this last one and maybe get the oops on Klima's last. Nothing too fancy. Throw in the guard. Klima immediately walks out there. No interest in getting cute. Clearly understanding which side to hit it on so you don't crash. Boom. Guard gone. Not a ton of choices here. Hit the yellow. Draw under the yellow. Given that yellow's just half in the 8, you can get away with this shot. Trying to be... Well, I guess you don't technically need to be shot, but you want to be fully buried under that yellow so that you're creating an opportunity to force. The steal is not practical. Even if it goes red draw, yellow freeze, red freeze, you're still going to have more than half the house to draw to. So this is, in effect, a force play. So you don't need to be shot, but you do need to be buried so that you could try to goad them into the return freeze. High likelihood he tries the straight back on his yellow, but if he misses that, then you split the house and you force him one. So here we go. Draw under the in-house guard. Past the yellow. Walking it to the back. Got shot rock. So here you go. As expected, they're going to run that yellow one straight back. If they nose it, good chance for a 2, and Ross will just play that same run back straight back. If they happen to miss the the red one, so the yellow goes over top of it either way, that's how Ross is crafting the force. holding the line. It's walking a bit. Bang, bang. All right. Well, they got rid of the red. They didn't keep the yellow. So Ross could do the same to really try to force the one. He could just hit the open one to say, okay, fine. Blank will steal next end. Most teams don't like to try to have to steal in the 8th end for the win. And he did just throw this. You throw the exact same thing, force him to the exact same run back, and hope like heck he misses you. Or does the same thing, rolls out, and is forced to 1. Well, they're treating him much the same as the last, so it's got to be pretty good. A little bit lighter. Distance is good. Ooh. Ooh, he didn't even get... That 3 feet makes a difference. He has a choice of the shorter run back. The angle is not ideal. He's probably got half a rock, so he should be able to hit that with hack the board. The angle on this run back's just crazy enough to make this actually harder than you might think. You need a little under nose, and then both yellows will actually roll outward from the center, but you can make the hit for 2. Despite being a little short of the distance Ross was after, this did turn out to be a sneaky little shot. Klima's last coming in, looking for the slightly off nose raise for 2. Got to come up a bit. It's getting close. There we go. 1, 2. Is it going to stick? It doesn't stick. A little too heavy. Forced his 1. Objective Ross Whyte achieved. 5-4 lead for Klima after 7. We'll be right back.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec Safety online e-learning website again?
Yeah, that would be aztecsafety.com.
Fire extinguisher and firefighting, we'll send that one to Paul.
Ah, now here's a course I should probably take. Conflict resolution.
Power line safety. Yeah, I thought it might help me with my line calls. Did you know this Aztec website has over 100 safety courses?
Jeez. Aztec Safety online course. Ground disturbance. Could have used that a few seconds ago.
So with the impact to my business and income, will this delay my retirement?
I know you're worried, Marshall, but based on the original plan we came up with, you're only about 6 months behind.
I thought it would be years, not months.
You should feel good. Remember, you've got a plan.
Thanks.
With change comes questions. See the impact of your money decisions before you make them with RBC Wealth Plan.
Welcome back, everybody. We are going into end number 8 here in the Western Showdown. It's a showdown between Klima and Whyte. It's been a bit of a back and forth in anybody's game. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Gord Coppathorne. I have Matt Hone on the cameras in the background. An early thank you to Matt. This has been a back and forth of opportunities and subtle misses. Even that last one, I'd love to have a camera, because you know what? If he throws it a little harder, he actually gets the blanked end. If he throws it a little bit lighter, he gets the 2. Really curious which one he was truly after. I suspect the 2, but hey, he ended up with 1. So Ross has hammer at a 1-point deficit. That's generally perceived as a good situation. Not ideal, but good. Klima's center guard slides into the house. Not great. A rock-biting top 12 is neither a guard nor a winning point. But hey, still a rock could play. They're looking to throw up another center. Ross, of course, had to throw up a corner because that's how he's been able to get his 2s so far. This rock by Lukas Klima is also kind of working its way down a little deep. That's certainly more than they were asking for, but hey, center guard. Tickable, it's not on the center line. Ross instead electing to go for the second corner guard. Again, that rock barely biting the top house isn't particularly scary. You can outdraw that underneath either corner guard. You're probably going to ignore it for the most part. It is the 8th end. As he throws up that corner guard, we'll take a super quick peek at the other sheets. Over on sheet 2, we've got Ryan Kleider beating up on poor Bradley Moser, 6-1 after 6. And then over on sheet 6, we got Kyle Waddell and Tanner Lott going at it. That's a 5-4 lead for Waddell out of Scotland after 6. Again, I encourage you to follow all of that stuff on Curl Zone, streams on Curl Stadium, and we will be here with you the entire event. Lots to enjoy. Thanks again to everybody who's been with us today. Sorry for the slight techno glitch in the quiet middle end. All right. Klima has to decide how he wants to roll with this. He's throwing another center guard, which kind of makes you think, you know what? He's not that interested in forcing one. The interesting thing of a long center is it does actually kind of take a lot of the draw path to the higher red guard out. It's actually going to make for a really small port, given the way the rocks curl. So that rightmost corner guard is not particularly useful at the moment. But, hey, lots can happen. Ross could draw to the left, use his corner guard, and leave this stream of yellows haunting him. He could draw under the yellows and be first to the can to secure his 1. He's choosing to just smash things. Fireball! What are we going to lose? We got 1, 2, 3. Ooh. All right. Well, you lost 1 yellow. The counting yellow is gone. But I wouldn't call that a good outcome. You got 2 center guards, and they're the ones shooting. And those center guards are staggered enough that there's no clear shot at it. Early advantage, Klima. This is coming in nice. We're looking for top 4. The hop, skip, and a jump says it's not going to be top 4. A little bit heavy. Does slide enough that there's still room to navigate. I'd have been a bit leery if that was just kind of biting back 4, but still. Ross has the same choice. Do you draw in, seal your 1 in there as best you can and fight for the 2, or open it up and keep trying to get that corner guard to be a tool later? So Ross has decided to chase the 4-foot, and I don't really have a problem with that. Make sure you get your 1, even if it means trying to steal in the extra. The guards are not in an ideal cleaned up state, so use them instead of clean them. So we're going for top 4. All right, going for top 4 here. Use the guards to your advantage. Switch gears to try to make sure you get 1. This path must be a little bit slick. Once again, sliding deep. You are shot. You are under a guard, way under the tee line. That's not bad. If he freezes to you, there's room for you to get another 1 in. Klima could freeze the back or bite top button. Take your pick. Whatever the sweepers tell you you've got coming. Sweepers kind of waving a hand. That usually means it's a little more than they're after. So looking for the freeze. It's got a long way to go. Got a lot of weight. There it comes. That's danger. That's potential game loser. All right, Ross looking to park this 1 higher than the tee line. Sit 2. Really put the screws in there. Sweepers like what they've got. It's just got to be shot rock. Nice shot. Nice shot. Big problem for Klima. Advantage went to big hole with that heavy draw. Now they've got tough shots. I might be inclined. Well, whoosh, 3 rocks, and you're gonna need at least 2 of them. You could come around and push the center yellow back. You could tap that 1 deep into the 4-foot and leave yours open for a chance. It's fully buried, so you can't throw much more than back 8. I'm a bit shocked they didn't even look at that middle yellow one. It is a raised play, but the rock's mostly open. You can get a better angle out of that. And anyways, so looking to push this one as close to straight back as you can. You might end up second shot. It's hard to tell. All right, looking for a nose tap. Sweeper's trying to get as much out of the curl as they can. Get it over, get it over. Carry it, carry it. All right. shot rock. Very nice, very nice. Actually, that other yellow might be out counting the back red as well. So red's probably 1-4. Red's 1-4. There's no draw paths of any sort down the right-hand side of the sheet as we're looking at it. You could play that deep yellow guard. You could throw a guard. You could pick out that yellow one, but then he's got a wide open draw path. Ross keeps looking at the guard, but I have to think they're only sitting one. That's certainly guarding for your life if you get there. Long red guard. Subtle look at that. Don't see a ton of advantage with that one. Part of me wonders if you could cross the face, freeze the one they just threw. Just ever so slightly across the face. That'd be really hard. But yeah, if you got just across the nose of the one he just threw, then there's a variety of different ways you could basically do a double takeout, because it would go after that yellow at the back butt or back four. That deep yellow, or that tight yellow guard that got left there with that smashy, bangy mess is really haunting them right now. I'm kind of in the same vein here, that playing the tight yellow guard could create a good outcome. All right, going for the in-house guard. So we're looking to throw this one top 8-ish, preferably a little bit past that one in the top 4. Doesn't have the weight for it, so we're just ending up with straight guard here. That's a junky 8th end we've got here. So there's a double tap to the can. There's... I have to think you have enough distance with that rock that Robin just threw to be able to tap your own up 1.5 foot. One thing we have seen is that Lucas's draws tend to curl harder than the Whyte team. So that's where my brain landed. The shot they're looking at right now is to push that one up 1.5 foot to bite the button and be shot. You do, of course, run the risk of opening up some kind of a double or something, but you have the luxury of being third shot between those two at the back. So that's what this kind of looks like. I think they're playing the squeak the red, come into the house, tap the yellow a foot. All right, Lukas Klima with his first in the 8th end here. Has his buddies Lucas and Martin ready to sweep. You need to paper this front red one. That's a lot of air. It's got to go a long way. Get it over. Well, you got a piece. I don't know if he got enough to be shot, but that is... Oof, that opened up a couple of choices for Ross. Hit and roll to the button, draw to the button. If you don't play the hit and roll, then technically Klima would have the hit and roll to the button. The guard is partly covering that yellow one. I feel like red's still sitting 1. My first inclination was make the draw and force them to play the hit. If you play the hit, you're likely going to be deep, which would give them a draw to kill the entire end. You would have to hit that with an absolute cannonball to roll flat and not leave them a gimme draw to kill the whole end. That would be firm weight, 7/8 flat roll. Now, there is technically still a double tap with the yellows down the center, but I don't know as you're going to be able to do much about that. I really like the draw. Even if you draw just biting the top of the button, then you can use that rock again on your last one, so on and so forth. I know they're worried about Klima playing the hit and roll back, but it's a risk I think you just got to leave. There was a couple of people had alluded to, if you put this slightly under that yellow top 4, maybe biting the 3 on that S3, then even if he does play a flat hit and roll, it will plow into that red to an extent and maybe even block them from getting shot rock. Ross really likes hit, roll, and actually bounce up off his back red. It would be fairly safe. I don't know how much room you got without pushing yours to being 3rd, which would be unfortunate to say the least. If we had a counter for how many times he's tapped the hit and roll, you're inclined to believe he wants to play the hit and roll. And that's what I'm reading here. So we're doing out turn, fairly flat hit and roll. All right, Ross's first rock here in the 8th end. Kind of a normal weight, not overthrowing it. Got to get past the red, through the port. Hit, roll, bounce, roll. All right. Exactly as he tapped it out. Hit, roll, bounce, up. Only sitting one. Really nice shot. Only sitting one. Can be outcounted. Here you go. Exactly as he scripts it. Looking for out turn. Actually reasonably thin because he's trying to leverage his back red one. Walk it down. They manage the port perfectly. Big 3/4, catch on your own, spin up. That's about the best he could do with that hit and roll. Now, we have seen Klima fight his draws a little bit. Wouldn't be the first rock or guard that he's tipped if this over curls on him. If he even puts a rock in the way, I'm not sure how Ross is getting two. All right, here we go. Try to get the pin. Lukas Klima's last rock here in the 8th end. Early clean. It's not overthrown. That's good. It's got the port. Does it have the weight? It's got to go. Gotta go. It's gotta go. Just a hair light, but definitely takes away that draw path. Ross is looking at red, yellow, past that one, double takeout. I'm not sure you can hurt yourself. Like, you would really need to paper that second yellow guard. You could also take the far right red and try to double the two yellows in the top of the 4-foot. You don't have a draw because you're not going to get more of the 4-foot. There's no real tap opportunities. This one's also kind of hard to hurt yourself. I can't see how you would ever get to that red at the back of the button. Can you curl enough around the guard to just bounce out the second shot yellow? So basically, like you're playing a double, but you don't actually care that the top yellow would stay. All right, last rock from Ross Whyte here. Haven't decided if he's playing the run back or that. All right, looks like run back. Trying to get half of that front red. It's a little thick. Oh, scooch. Nicely done. Angle run back, double for the 2 in the win by Ross Whyte. Congratulations, Team Whyte. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We hope you enjoyed yourself. Oh, let's take another look at it. I love it. All right, so he's playing the long red one. It's about 3/4. They're on, they're off, then they're on, carrying it. And absolutely nuts it. Perfect double. Score 2. Win the game. Shake hands. We'll see you guys later today. Please join us again.